Hey guys, what's up? This is Dingo Crikey here with another commentary video. This time I'm going to be talking about the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction toy line. If you guys are interested in more news on TF4 toys or general Transformers discussion topics, please check out my playlist and channel where I also have a number of Transformers stop motion videos, some of which are previewed here. But anyways, for this video, I'm going to be discussing the possible release of Transformers Dark of the Moon Wheeljack in the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction toy line. So anyone who kept up with the TF3 Dark of the Moon toy line was probably aware that there were a few characters from the film which got figures, but those figures were never released to stores. The figures were actually made by Hasbro, but because the Transformers Prime line was the new big thing, a lot of retailers wanted to release the Prime figures instead and just ignore the last few waves of the Dark of the Moon toy line, or so I've heard. And Wheeljack, or Q as he was known in the film, happened to be one of these characters who didn't get released, along with a G1 Deco version of him, which I believe would have been released in the succeeding wave. And for the reasons I'd mentioned, this never happened. He never got a US release. However, in Japan, the original Q or Wheeljack figure, the one in the blue color scheme, was released back in the Dark of the Moon line like it was supposed to be. However, I don't believe in Japan the version of his character with the G1 color scheme was actually released in the toy line. But now it looks like the TF4 Age of Extinction toy line, at least in Japan, will be seeing a repaint of Q or Wheeljack in his G1 color scheme, and also with a head remolded to look a lot more like his G1 counterpart. So something that I've kind of wondered about, and I'm sure a few other people have questioned, is whether or not this release will come to America. Because in my opinion, this figure does have a pretty cool look to it. I mean, after seeing images and reviews, I mean, initially he looks pretty weird, but, you know, he seems like a pretty nice figure, good articulation, lots of cool tools, good vehicle mode, and the G1 color scheme really works well on him, as with the head remold. I mean, I liked the original figure from what I had seen, but I really wasn't a fan of the head sculpt. I know it's supposed to look like Einstein, and it was movie accurate and all that, but come on, it was ugly. I mean, probably the ugliest Transformer face in all of the movies. And I feel bad saying that because, spoilers, he dies in the movie, but it's the truth. The remolded head sculpt looks a lot better, and surprisingly it works pretty well on the mold. I mean, he just looks like an all-around good mold. Go look up a review of him or something like that to see what I mean. So, do I think this figure will actually be released in the US as it's being released in Japan? Sadly, I don't think it will be, but I think there is that chance. I mean, at this point, to me, it just doesn't feel like they'd release this mold in the line. I mean, for one thing, the Dark of the Moon figures did kind of a different look than the Age of Extinction figures. I don't think that's the biggest thing, but I mean, because the figure was never released before, maybe Hasbro has some kind of reasoning for not letting retailers have it this time, even if they wanted it now. I'm just not that sure. Personally, one of the biggest reasons that I'm doubtful about this thing's American release is because, according to Transformers World 2005, it is going to be something like an Eon store exclusive. I don't know if that's a store in Japan or what, but anyways, I don't know, store exclusives, a lot of times Japan don't get American store exclusives, so we probably wouldn't get theirs. I'm not for sure, but that's just what I think. I mean, I would say, maybe like a 60-40 chance, but I'm leaning towards 60%, like we probably won't get the toy. I mean, possibly in the Generations line, I think there's a better chance than in the Age of Extinction line if they just released it as Wheeljack. They already did have a Generations Wheeljack, but I still think it's possible. I mean, they've redone certain characters in Generations line who might have been done in Universe 2 and that before. I mean, you know, we had Springer was originally released as a repaint of Cybertron Evac, and then he got his own mold. So, I mean, maybe they'll do that, but I think what boosts the chances of this guy actually being released in either Age of Extinction's toy line or Generations, what gives him greater chance than a character like Dino, is because, according to information I've read, they did actually make this figure and produce it. It was just that retailers didn't want the toy because of the whole thing with TF Prime. So the figure was actually made, and that brings up the chances of them actually releasing it. I mean, I don't really have a ton of info on this story, mainly because I pretty much skipped out on the Dark of the Moon toy line. I mean, I got a few of the figures from it, but up until recently, I didn't even know that Wheeljack or Q wasn't actually released. I mean, I seen pictures of the toy and I figured it was released. I mean, that's how much out of sync I was with the Dark of the Moon toy line. Just didn't really like the look of it. Seemed like they're going back to some movie one roots. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the toy line. But despite saying that, I would really like to see this figure released with the remolded head. But you guys can tell me what you think in the comment section. Would you like to see this figure released at American retail or not? Maybe you don't care. Maybe you really don't want to see the figure released. Or maybe you'd rather the original mold with the original head sculpt be released. And also, do you think the figure will actually be released? I mean, if any of you guys have news on this story, please leave it below in the comment section. I'd be really interested in hearing it. Anyways, that's about all I have for this one, guys. If you have any topic suggestions or interesting Transformers news stories, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. I mean, I'd be open to doing a video on them if they're good enough. Another convention supposedly coming up, like Comic-Con, something like that, where figures might be revealed around the 24th. But up until then, I mean, it's a little bit hard to find topic ideas. I could do general Transformers discussion if you guys are interested in that, so leave it below. Until the next video, feel free to check out my other commentary videos along with my Transformers stop motion videos. And if you have any Transformer videos, stop motions in particular, that you'd like me to see, drop it off in the comment section and I'll take a look at it and give you an opinion. Anyways, that's it for this video. Have a good one, guys.